In our headlines at this hour, U.S. efforts to impose tougher UN sanctions on North Korea amid its flagrant shows of military force have been blocked by China and Russia. 2 days of early voting for the June 1st local and parliamentary by-elections have begun on this Friday, and COVID-19 patients can cast their ballots late Saturday. Meanwhile, South Korean boy band BTS has been invited to the White House to meet with US President Joe Biden and discuss rampant anti-Asian violence. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Daily Report. It's Friday afternoon, May 27th here in South Korea. I'm Min San-hee. Our top story this afternoon, a UN motion led by the US for stronger sanctions against North Korea in response to rampant testings of its missile technology has been blocked by China and Russia. Our Lee Ji-yoon has the story.
North Korea's two closest allies said no to a United States-led UN resolution on Thursday. The UN Security Council resolution would have imposed new, tougher sanctions on North Korea for its latest intercontinental ballistic missile launches.
The Council unanimously responded to DPRK provocations with resolutions that impose sanctions and bring collective condemnation to a very real threat to peace and security. Today, 2 permanent members of this Council chose to veto rather than act.
From the 15-member Security Council, just 2, China and Russia, vetoed the motion. The 2 countries have previously delayed action behind closed doors when deciding on North Korea's sanctions. However, Thursday's veto was the first time they have publicly broken unanimity in the Security Council.
The country concerned should not place one-sided emphasis on the implementation of sanctions alone, but should also work to promote a political solution.
We're convinced that the search for mutually acceptable political diplomatic solutions is the only possible way towards a peaceful solution on the North Korean peninsula.
The vote comes just a day after North Korea fired 3 missiles following U.S. President Joe Biden's Asia trip. Meanwhile, Victor Cha, senior vice president for the Center for Strategic and International Studies, says North Korea seems to have a pattern of disrupting major American national holidays with provocations. He added it's plausible that North Korea could conduct a nuclear test during Memorial Day next Monday. This will not be the first time North Korea has disrupted a Memorial Day weekend with provocations, having already done so 7 times. Lee Ji-yoon, Arirang News.
And a number of UN-accredited non-governmental organizations are protesting North Korea's heading of the UN's disarmament forum. Come Monday, North Korea is poised to chair the 65-member forum that negotiated the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. North Korea is expected to lead the forum for 4 weeks. 30 NGOs are urging ambassadors of democratic countries, including the US, Canada, the UK and EU states, to walk out of the forum. In a statement Thursday, the director of the UN Watch, one of the 30 NGOs, claimed making North Korea the head of a nuclear weapons disarmament forum is like, quote, putting a rapist in charge of a women's shelter. And the Biden administration seeks healthy competition, not harmful conflict with China, and remains committed to constructive communication. Our Kim Hyo-sun has more on Washington's strategy with regard to Beijing.
America's top diplomat has outlined the Biden administration's policy towards China. In a 45-minute speech at George Washington University on Thursday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken explained that Beijing poses, quote, the most serious long-term challenge to the international order. Blinken summed up the administration's strategy in 3 words: invest, align, and compete. He laid out the framework of Washington's strategy aimed at investing in U.S. competitiveness and allying with allies as well as partners to compete with China. He emphasized that the U.S. is not looking for conflict or a new Cold War.
We are not looking for conflict or a new Cold War. To the contrary, we're determined to avoid both. We don't seek to block China from its role as a major power, nor to stop China, or any other country for that matter, from growing their economy or advancing the interests of their people.
Blinken also noted that the Biden administration stands ready to bolster direct communication with Beijing.
We stand ready to increase our direct communication with Beijing across a full range of issues. And we hope that that can happen. But we cannot rely on Beijing to change its trajectory. So, we will shape the strategic environment around Beijing to advance our vision for an open, inclusive international system. It's a real pleasure.
On the issue of Taiwan, Blinken stressed that Washington remains committed to its one China policy. Blinken's speech coincides with the beginning of Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi's sweeping tour of Pacific Island countries, including Papua New Guinea and East Timor. Kim Yo-san, Arirang News.
In other news, 2 days of early voting for the June 1st local and parliamentary by-elections have begun. Polling stations open doors at 6 a.m. on this Friday and will close at 6 p.m. today. Now, these same hours apply for Saturday. For COVID-19 patients who hope to partake in early voting, they will be able to cast their ballots from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday only. Proof of infection will be needed in the form of a PCR test or a rapid antigen test, and they cannot take public transportation. Staying on the local political front, a bill proposing the establishment of a second presidential office in Sejong City has been adopted by the National Assembly's Judiciary Committee, and this adoption itself is adding more fuel to the city's race for the post of mayor between the country's two major political parties. Arirang explains.
In the administrative capital of Sejong, the incumbent mayor Lee Chun-hee of the Democratic Party is aiming for a third term. Public officials in their 30s, 40s, and 50s have traditionally leaned liberal, so the central city was once considered a safe seat for the main opposition DP. But in this election, Sejong has become a toss-up, with Choi Min-ho of the Conservative People Power Party catching up in the polls. The rising expectations for the region's development once Sejong fully becomes South Korea's administrative capital, which is being pushed by both the main parties, laying the legal foundations for setting up a secondary presidential office in the city. This was also an election pledge made both by President Yoon Suk-yeol and the DP's Lee Jae-myung as part of achieving balanced national development. And on Thursday, Parliament's Judiciary Committee approved a bill to do it just 6 days before the elections. This was the final hurdle for the bill to be put up for a vote. And given the bipartisan consensus, the bill will likely be passed swiftly at a plenary session, which could be held as soon as Friday. Its approval also comes on the same day President Yoon held his first cabinet meeting in the city. The PPP's Choi Min-ho has rallied his supporters, pointing to the synergy he could create as mayor with the Yoon administration. The DP's Lee Chun-hee condemned President Yoon's cabinet meeting as lacking sincerity. With the 2 days of early voting on Friday and Saturday, the two parties are going all out to win Sejong, which could also affect the surrounding Chungcheong region. There are a total of 4 out of 17 posts are up for grabs. 이경은, Arirang News.
And window air conditioners made by Korean tech giant LG Electronics have been selected as the most reliable by American consumers. According to U.S. industry tracker Consumer Reports, the company's window-type model topped the ranking for room air conditioners. It earned an excellent predicted reliability rating, which estimates the likelihood of a system breaking down within 5 years, as was a very good owner satisfaction rating. The report says this model is best for a bedroom, given the low noise performance and the fast cooling effect. A local company has managed to place a satellite into orbit via a ride-share mission by SpaceX. The launch took place this past Wednesday and involved 59 payloads, including the small South Korean satellite. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
This could be just another rocket launch for many, but for South Korea, it means a great deal. Among the 59 spacecraft inside the SpaceX Falcon 9 on Wednesday is South Korea's first ever civilian-operated satellite, the Sejong-1. Hancom M-Space, in cooperation with U.S. company Spire Global, developed the satellite. While South Korean companies have developed and exported compact satellites such as Sejong-1 in the past, Hancom is the first firm to be operating one. Until now, all satellite operations had been under control of the government. Hancom confirmed that about 75 minutes after launch, it was able to establish a connection. And in terms of size, Sejong 1 is 20 centimeters wide, 10 in length, and 30 in height. It weighs 10.8 kilograms and orbits the Earth 12 to 14 times a day, completing an orbit every 90 minutes at 500 kilometers above Earth. The satellite uses a 5-meter resolution observation camera. The images and clips can be sold to customers that need analysis on large areas of land, such as countries that depend on farming and other agricultural business.
We won't stop here. Sejong 2 will come later in 2022. We plan on having up to 5 satellites by 2023 to have a satellite constellation. It will enhance timing and resolution. We'll have daily observations of the Korean Peninsula.
The industry is only expected to get bigger, with Allied Market Research saying by 2030, the global small satellite market is expected to surpass $13 billion. Sejong 1 is just a start for South Korean companies. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Well, that is all for part 1 of the Daily Report. In part 2, we have a very special guest on our show, so do stay tuned.
What matters?
Welcome back. On Viewpoint today, I have a talented guest who recently won an American music reality contest that included artists from all 50 U.S. states, 5 U.S. territories and Washington, D.C. with their original songs, that is. I have AleXa, the K-pop musician from Oklahoma, who was crowned, that is, the grand winner of NBC's American Song Contest. Now, AleXa, congratulations. Welcome to Arirang TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's start off there with a few words on your winning NBC's American Music Contest. How did you feel?
It was such an honor to participate in this contest. I mean, not just, against other artists from all these amazing states and territories, but against some legends that are in the industry like Michael Bolton, Jewel, Macy Gray. They all took part in this competition, and it was such a joy to share the same stage with them.
Right, and for the sake of our viewers here in South Korea, do tell us a bit about this contest.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, American Song Contest is based off of the Eurovision format, and for people who don't know what Eurovision is, it's basically the Olympics of music competition in Europe. So basically every country, or in this case every state or territory, would send in a representative singer with one song, and they compete to see who has the best song in the nation, I suppose, yes.
Right.
And that is how the format went.
Right, and the vote depends on the jury as well as your fans, of course, right?
It was divided between a jury of a judge from every single territory and state, along with online voting through applications and, I believe, messaging systems.
Right, and what prompted you to sign up for this contest?
Well, I've actually been a really big fan of Eurovision for many years, and it kind of helps that one of my staff members actually hails from Sweden herself, so she's very knowledgeable on everything Eurovision. So when we got the invite to maybe audition for the show, we went ahead and said, hey, why not? Let's do it, and the rest is history.
Right, and you put on a spectacular performance, AleXa. During the finale, do tell us a bit about the work that went behind the creation of your final show, because you did that show 3 times. You did Wonderland 3 times on that show, right? Tell us a bit about that.
Absolutely. So every time we did a new stage preparation, every time we got into that, my team, along with the wonderful creative team that we worked with in America called House of Sam, we always were brainstorming and thinking, how can we bring the stage to the next level? How can we make this more of a wow factor for the people watching in the audience and at home via their televisions? And so, of course, we incorporated those really bright red ropes for the really cool detail in the first one. We added the falling backwards off the stairs element for all 3 stages to have a big climax at the end. We added the aerial silks for the semifinals, and then the throne for the final stage itself, plus the flaming staircase at the end, which is my personal favorite.
Right, and you weren't scared of the free fall, were you?
Oh, not at all. I enjoy heights. I love stunts. I was having the time of my life.
Right. Now, AleXa, let's go back a few years then. How did you first come across K-pop itself?
Yes, so back in 2008, my best friend introduced me to K-pop via Super Junior at the time. They were the first group I ever discovered, and that kind of opened the gates of K-pop for me, and ever since then I became a really big fan of SHINee. Somebody name? Yes. And so, yeah, it's just been a very long, over-decade journey of being a K-pop fan turned K-pop artist.
I understand that SHINee's Taemin was quite a bit of an inspiration for you. Could you tell us a bit about that as well?
That would be correct. Seeing as I did get into K-pop in 2008 when SHINee debuted, I really admired Taemin Sunbaenim immediately for his dance and performance skills, because I had never seen another artist of that caliber before. So even to this day, I watch all of his performances, I listen to all of his songs. He's just a tremendous inspiration for me.
Right, I see. And AleXa, what would you say is K-pop's perhaps universal appeal?
That is a wonderful question. I mean, K-pop itself as a musical style, it's like this large umbrella with so many subcategories underneath it. K-hip-hop, K-ballads, K-R&B, K-pop, K-EDM, all these things. It's a very niche kind of music style that someone is bound to find something they love, regardless if they understand Korean or not, because music, honestly, is a languageless kind of, languageless form of, I guess, connection. And so, yeah.
And speaking about language, was your Korean quite good prior to your interest in K-pop, or did you learn more about it after your interest in K-pop?
Not at all. While my mother is of Korean descent, she was adopted when she was 5, and so we only grew up speaking English in my house. So when I moved to Korea back in 2018, that is when I first attended a hagwon, an academy, to learn Korean.
Right, I attended a hagwon as well to learn Korean too, so I understand the difficulties that you probably went into. Back in 2018, AleXa, you partook in a reality competition show here in South Korea as well called Produce 48. What was that experience like?
Oh goodness, yes. I mean, the second I moved to Korea, it was, I believe, April of 2018, and then I immediately went onto that show. During that time, I had a very minuscule skill set. I was not as developed as I could have been. Of course, my Korean language skills were very poor. But thankfully on that show, I met so many wonderful and kind people that really helped me get through everything. There were other like Kpops, other Korean Americans that helped me understand what was going on. The staff was very helpful and caring. It was a very fun learning experience. There are a lot of things that I took away from it that helped me to this day in my career.
Right. AleXa, do you suppose you need to be born with the ability to dance and sing, or can you kind of acquire it over time?
I do believe that anybody can be taught how to dance and sing and perform overall. I think as long as you have a passion for it and you just really see yourself going into this performance field through your whole life, I feel like that's really what can drive you to, I guess, to make or break you within the performance industry itself.
Because practice does make perfect, of course, right? Now, I also understand you have a special relationship with our broadcasting station, Arirang. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Whenever I first debuted back in 2019, Arirang, simply K-pop, was the first 방송 that I did. And ever since then, I was off and on as a radio guest. I helped co-host a radio show here and there. And I'm always just happy to be back at Arirang, whether it's for a news thing or for simply K-pop or for radio.
Right, I see. And as a K-pop artist, AleXa, what do you hope to bring to the genre or add further to this genre?
Let's see, as a K-pop artist myself, I do hope to continue expanding, I guess, the view that people might have on K-pop, especially if they're like, newer to the music style itself. K-pop is such a diverse and deep kind of music style. It has so many different facets, and it's just like a spectrum, really. There's so many different colors and shades and hues that you could dive into.
Right. Tell us a bit about what you're involved in at the moment, AleXa.
Oh, yes. Right now, I am currently working on a bit more of Wonderland, which was the song that I did for American Song Contest. We're working on promoting it here and there, doing some fun little things behind the scenes. Hopefully, something soon will come out for the fans to enjoy.
But you can't tell us exactly when it will be, right?
I cannot exactly.
Right. And for the sake of your fans here as well, could you tell us a bit about what you do during your free time?
Oh, yes. In my free time, I am an avid movie lover. I love horror movies specifically.
Have you seen Squid Game?
I have. Ojingo Game, I binged it. Oh my goodness.
What do you think was that merit of Squid Game?
Truly, I don't know. I mean, it's just such an iconic drama at this point. I mean, yes, there are wonderful and incredibly directed and well-filmed cinematic... wow, English cannot happen today. Wow. Very wonderfully made cinematographic pieces like Squid Game on like many platforms, but specifically with Ojingo Game taking over this worldwide trend. I don't know, I think it was just the charm of, I guess, the Korean style of entertainment that really kind of put it out there.
Right, aside from watching movies, then what else do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy mukbang? Eating?
I do. On the occasion, it depends on what the mukbang exactly is.
What do you enjoy Korean food-wise?
Oh, me, Korean food-wise, I enjoy kimchi jjigae, pajeon, just anything really.
Right. For those of your fans out there, as well as others interested in this industry, what would you like to tell them about venturing into the entertainment industry here in South Korea?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if it is your dream, follow it. It is never too late and it is never too early to begin. Just make sure that your passion and your drive stays within you, and always be thankful for every opportunity that you receive.
Well, what do you suppose would be a very difficult aspect of being inside the entertainment industry?
Well, I think this could be said for any aspect of the entertainment industry, not just in Korea, but your sleep will be sacrificed.
I see. Do you try to make up for your sleep during your free time then?
I try to, but still very okay.
How many hours of sleep do you normally get?
Oh, goodness. On a good day, I would like to say 6, but on the norm, I'd say 3 or 4 hours, perhaps.
So what exactly is your daily schedule like then?
Let's see. Well, normally I would get up, go to shop, do hair and makeup.
What time do you wake up then?
Oh, well, it depends. Yesterday, I woke up at 5 in the morning because I had a schedule until 11 p.m., so all-day affairs. It just varies every day with what we do.
So you wake up 5 in the morning, you go get your makeup and hair done, and then what happens?
And then we sometimes film contents, like small videos or vlogs. We'll do like 음악 방송, or we'll do other kind of like yening things here and there. It just kind of depends on the daily flow of things.
And what about your interaction with your fans? What can you tell us about that? Do you have a daily interaction with them or a weekly? How does that work?
I do have like a messaging app that I do use to talk to my fans directly. Sometimes I'll do live broadcasts, or we'll do mention parties on social media. And recently, having come back and forth from America, I had the opportunity to do a few fan signs there and meet fans directly.
What about fan signs here in South Korea? Any plans for that?
I would absolutely love to do one. Ever since it debuted, I have not had the opportunity to, but now I think as things are becoming a bit safer, I would love the opportunity.
Do you believe that Korea's music, perhaps the music industry here as well, the film industry is already out there, but the music industry, BTS of course is taking a lead up there. What else can be done to further perhaps broaden our horizons out in the world in terms of music?
Let's see, I mean, that's truly a wonderful question. And as a K-pop artist, of course, I cannot speak for everyone in the industry, but I mean, I think it would just be so amazing to keep discovering all these new artists and groups, whether they're indie or rappers or just really talented, like dancing groups or whatever, just to show the different colors that are available. Because some people might have a very black and white image in their head of K-pop. It is a full rainbow spectrum.
Right. And finally, do you have a message that you would like to share to your fan club, members of your fan club, the AI Trooper?
Absolutely. First and foremost, should I look at you or shall I look at the camera?
You can look at the camera. Go ahead.
Yes. Hello. Goodness. Okay. Hello, AI Troopers. It is me, AleXa. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all of the incredible love and support over these last few months while I have been participating in the American Song Contest. Hopefully I did you proud. Thank you for voting for me and just pulling me through for that win. And I cannot wait to show you what we have in store. So please stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I will see you in person soon.
Oh my gosh, AleXa, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts today.
Thank you so much.
South Korea's BTS will be at the White House on Tuesday next week to meet with US President Joe Biden and to shed greater light on racially motivated violence against Asians. The meeting comes just a week after Mr. Biden's return from his Asia trip that began in South Korea. Our Kim Do-yeon has details.
K-pop superstars BTS are going to speak up about Asian hate crimes with US President Joe Biden. The group will meet him at the White House on May 31st. According to reports, the White House said the two sides will talk about how BTS can use their influence to spread a message of hope globally. As the month of May marks Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the U.S., President Biden has been making efforts to address concerns over the rising number of hate crimes against Asian Americans. In fact, according to Stop AAPI hate crimes against Asian Americans have surpassed 10,000 since March 2020 when COVID-19 first began spreading widely in the U.S. In May of last year, President Biden signed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which gave law enforcement more support to investigate race hate crimes.
It's wrong, it's un-American, and it must stop.
BTS have also been vocal about racially motivated crimes. In March last year, the group tweeted a message denouncing anti-Asian discrimination and hate crimes. The post became Twitter's most retweeted post of the year.
We're a bit shy to be the voice of a generation, but it does come with great responsibilities.
The South Korean boy band is also getting ready for the release of their new anthology album, Proof, which is set to land June 10th. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
In the world of literature, this year's International Booker Prize has been granted to Hindi novel Tomb of Sand. Now, while the South Korean literary work Cast Bunny did not garner the grand award, pundits agree it has served to expand the realm of modern Korean literature. Our Yoon-jin has more.
Indian writer Geetanjali Shree and American translator Daisy Rockwell's Tomb of Sand has won the prestigious 2022 International Booker Prize, an award for fiction translated into English. This is the very first Indian language novel to get a prize and the very first novel written in Hindi to even be shortlisted in the 17-year history of the international category.
This is a bolt from the blue, but what a nice one. And I'm still reeling. I never dreamt of the Booker and never thought I could. What a huge recognition. I'm amazed, delighted, honored, and humbled.
Set in the northern India, the book tells the story of an 80-year-old woman's adventure as she tries to start a new chapter of her life after going through depression following the death of her husband. The jury introduced the story as engaging, funny, and utterly original, at the same time as being an urgent and timely protest against the destructive impact of borders and boundaries. It beat 5 other outstanding works, including The Books of Jacob by Polish writer Olga Tokarczuk, who won the 2018 Nobel Prize in Literature, and South Korean writer Bora Chung's Cursed Bunny. Though Chung did not win the prize, her book is widely being recognized as having evaluated Korean modern literature, broadening its boundaries by bringing genres of horror, fantasy, and science fiction together.
Bora Chung's disturbing yet eloquently human stories are brought viscerally to life by the startling talent of Anton Her.
Experts agree that Chung being shortlisted will bring more attention to Korean literature, which has already been in the spotlight following South Korean writer Han Kang's 2016 Booker win. 이은진, Arirang News.
Back on the local front, a forum was recently launched to provide a platform for business ventures involving overseas demand for Korean cultural contents and related goods, which reportedly brought in much profit last year. Our Kim Hyun-sung was there.
Korean content's booming popularity is bringing in the big bucks. According to Korea Foundation for International Cultural Exchange on Thursday, South Korea earned almost $11.7 billion from exports of Korean goods or cultural content in 2021. That's $170 million more than the year before. Experts say that both BTS and the hit Netflix original series Squid Game were contributing factors. Exports for consumer goods rose almost 20% in 2021. These include food, cosmetics, accessories, and other merchandise. And more foreign companies are looking to venture into the lucrative world of Korean culture. KOTRA, or Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency, on Thursday launched a platform to help them to do so. KOTRA, with its British Chamber of Commerce in Korea, held a business forum in Myeongdong, central Seoul, to discuss business opportunities in Korean content. Around 50 business people, foreign officials, and attorneys that help with trans-border transactions were invited.
We wanted to share our insights on what to look out for when doing business with the Korean entertainment industry. And we wanted to create more opportunities for the Korean entertainment industry to expand more overseas.
Finnish entertainment industry is not too famous globally and also not famous in Korea. So today I am actually seeking for introducing a movie about Korean ice hockey dreams produced by a Finnish producer.
Those in attendance included Julian Knight, a British member of parliament, who delivered the keynote address, during which he touched on the huge success of Squid Game.
And I will never think of a red light or a green light any different ever again, thanks to Squid Game.
On top of the widely known Korean dramas and K-pop artists, the forum also introduced some new K-content that's coming up on the horizon.
So in order to understand what sort of business opportunities out there, it is important, we believe it is important to understand and pay a close attention to two things. One, webtoon, and two, technology.
It might have started with BTS and Squid Game, but according to Thursday's forum, K-culture's growing sphere is expanding and is now reaching into web entertainment, the metaverse, and AI technology. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News.
Now, for those of you here in the capital city who have yet to make weekend plans, my colleague Kim Bo-kyung recommends a visit to an exhibition that not only pleases the eye, but also your sense of touch, allowing the visually impaired to enjoy the event as well. To take a look.
Alchemy using glass, wood, and stainless steel. Korea Craft Week welcomes those interested in making something magical with their hands. The 10-day event has been held annually since 2018. This year, over 600 craft studios and galleries are holding around 1,400 events, letting craft lovers enjoy craft to its fullest. The festival's centerpiece is at Culture Station Seoul 284 in Seoul's Junggu district. The venue showcases the exquisite beauty of Korean craftsmanship, which has been featured at the Milan Design Week, the world's largest design and craftwork fair.
이게 지금 저희가 보고 있는 게 밀라노 한국공예전에서 선보여줬던 작품들인 거잖아요. 혹시 특징이 있었다면 어떤 특징이 있었다고 할 수 있을까요?
네, 그 한국 전통공예의 아름다움을 현대적으로 보여주는 그런 작품들을 전시하였는데요. 사실 이런 작품 같은 경우에도 보면은 그 자개의 아름다움을 그 가구 전체에 덮어서 현대적인 가구로 활용한 그런 작품이에요. 그래서 사실
It also features wooden craftwork by the artist who designed all the furniture of the wealthy Park family house in the film Parasite. But seeing isn't everything in this festival.
Unlike other types of art that are usually just for people to look at, craft is for people to use, to touch and feel. This exhibition room highlights that aspect of craft work. It presents a graduation book made for students with impaired vision so they can touch, feel, and remember their friends.
Each face is a student or faculty member from Daegu Gwangmyeong School, a special education school for the blind. Students' faces have been carved using 3D technology, and the button below each student's profile plays their own recorded voice. History can also be seen with your hands.
The visually impaired have fewer chances to learn and enjoy culture and cannot easily go on trips. With an education tool offering small artifacts from Gyeongbokgung Palace, they can learn history.
Decorative and beautiful, but functional and useful even for those with visual disabilities. The craft fair, letting visitors actually touch objects, runs until 29th. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Charity is not the only thing that begins at home. According to one Indonesian activist, compassion is also nurtured within the community. And for her, this compassion has also led to tangible commitment to the environment and more. Our Lee had the pleasure of speaking to her.
Taking action requires courage. And here's an example of bravery from a young female, 21-year-old changemaker Melody Wiesen. Named one of the most influential teens in the world by Time in 2018, she started the Bye Bye Plastic Bags campaign when she was 12 along with her sister Isabel. This all began as a project to protect her home in Bali. In an interview with Arirang TV, she said growing up in Bali gave her a fresh perspective on environmental issues.
Growing up on Bali, there was so much beauty around us, but we also have a very strong reality of the growing problem of plastic pollution. It was not rocket science to see that there was a problem, and so we started Bye Bye Plastic Bags without a business plan, without a strategy, but with a very clear vision of making our home of Bali plastic bag free.
Bye Bye Plastic Bags has now grown into an international movement of inspiration. Teams in over 50 regions around the world are working to ban single-use plastic bags. Melody is now a leader of Youthopia, an online platform that encourages youth-driven movements. The forum is an opportunity for young people around the world to gather and grow their skills to become active changemakers. Nearly 200 influencers from 40 countries provide mentorship and workshop programs through the platform.
The goal of Youthopia is to try and help make sure that every single young person knows how to create change. Because I think that's one of the things when we look at the young generation, so many of us want to get involved, so many of us want to take action, but how do we start? What do we have to do? Where do we build a team? How do we get better at public speaking? How do we build a plan? So Youthopia has all of those foundational change-making skills that we put in a program.
Asked if she had any advice for young people who were interested in making changes in society, Melody said, try to find something that makes you passionate.
You need to find something that you're passionate about. What is it that you enjoy doing? And sometimes that can be a difficult place to start off. So I always say, create a list of the things that you don't like, because that's sometimes easier to get across, right? And then once you eliminate those, you can kind of start to understand what is it that makes you happy? What do you love doing? I think that young people have to find something that excites them, because there isn't one way to create change.
Melody's next goal is to cooperate with businesses to show how Generation MZ can create meaningful relationships with corporations and governments. She also says there should be more platforms to engage young people in decision-making processes. Lee Dae-hyun, Arirang News, Manila.
The city of Seoul is opening its first city-run kids cafe or indoor playground for children on Friday. Located in Chongnong-gu district, it's open to children aged 3 to 7 from Tuesday to Saturday. The cafe has toys, books and board games with instructors and security personnel on site for safety. The entry fee for a child and a guardian is 2,001. Bookings can be made on the Seoul Public Service Reservation website. The city plans to open a total of 20 kids cafes by the end of this year.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the world now. The World Health Organization voted on Thursday to adopt a resolution that condemns Russia's actions in Ukraine, as they have led to a national health emergency. Approved by 88 votes in favor, with 12 against and 53 abstentions, the resolution's passage led to a standing ovation by its supporters. The move further isolates Moscow on the international stage. Meanwhile, the organization rejected a parallel proposal submitted by Russia, which mirrored the language of the original, but omitted parts relating to Moscow's aggression. WHO Europe member states have also passed a resolution that could result in Russia's regional office closing. In Senegal, 11 newborn babies died in a fire at a hospital's maternity unit on Wednesday in the western city of Tivaouane. According to the city's mayor, preliminary investigations suggest a short circuit caused the blaze. He added that 3 babies were rescued. Meanwhile, Senegal's health ministry said a government delegation has been dispatched to the site. The tragedy prompted outrage in the West African nation over the rundown state of its healthcare facilities. It comes as the country's hospital system was already facing public scrutiny over a lack of funding and poor safety standards. Last year, 4 newborn babies were killed in a fire at a different hospital. Looking to Moldova now, where a court on Thursday placed former president and pro-Russian opposition leader Igor Dodon under house arrest. Set for a period of 30 days, the move will allow prosecutors to investigate allegations of corruption and treason. Dodon has claimed that the case is politically motivated, an accusation the government has rejected. The former leader's arrest comes at a time when relations between Moscow and Chisinau are increasingly strained. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said Dodon's detainment is cause for concern and urged Moldovan authorities to respect his rights. A boat carrying 842 Haitian migrants bound for the United States has instead washed ashore along the north coast of Cuba. Cuban state media reported that the boat was found early on Tuesday near a popular vacation spot, causing a scramble to provide humanitarian aid to the group, which included more than 150 women and children. Reports say that several days of stormy weather forced the boat towards Cuba. While many Haitians have taken to the sea to escape gang violence and poverty at home, Cuba itself is experiencing mass migration due to shortages of food and medicine. Scientists may have discovered the world's oldest tree in Chile's Alerce Costero National Park. A new study found that an ancient Alerce tree known as the great-grandfather could be around 5,484 years old. The lead scientist, Jonathan Barichevich, said that the sample they extracted and other dating methods gave them the estimate, and that there's only a 20% chance that the tree is younger. So far, scientists haven't been able to determine its exact age based on tree rings because of the tree's massive trunk. But the estimated age would beat the current record holder, a 4,853-year-old bristlecone pine tree in California. Matthew Ashley, Arirang News.
Good Friday afternoon. Today, those of you who live in Gangwon-do province might need an umbrella. As rain clouds are forming in that region, you might see showers of around 5 millimeters, and it could be windy or thundery. So stay safe and keep an eye on the weather forecast. It was rather fresh and breezy yesterday, and we're seeing a similar pattern for today, and highs are slightly higher than yesterday. Meanwhile, southern regions remain quite hot, reaching 30 degrees. But be mindful of wide gaps in readings and always pack a light jacket on your way out in the morning. And the wind is picking up across the country, and when it's combined with a dry weather advisory, fire risks remains. In this weather, a small spark can travel very quickly, so be careful with anything that can start a fire. And during the weekend, temperatures will hit 30 degrees in most regions, and we're expected to see some rain across the country on Monday. That's all for now. Have a great weekend, and let's take a look at the worldwide weather conditions.
And those are the headlines at this hour, but do stay tuned to Arirang News for more coverage. Have a good weekend. Thank you for now.